Hello, wayward travelers, and welcome to part 7 of Horizon Burning Shores with a Therapist. Please know that I am so grateful to those of you that are watching this playthrough and engaging with it on YouTube. It is awesome of you to give this a shot and to stick with this series. I know that between Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, and Burning Shores, this has been a very long run, and so the fact that you are still here is awesome. I appreciate it immensely, and I am looking forward to what we have here. So keep leaving those thumbs up, keep leaving comments, tell people about these playthroughs, check out my other videos on the channel, and let's find Walter Landra. Because he seems fun. Find a use for the key.
Ancestors. This place is a maze.
Ying. Hey, there's the volcano. I don't know that I want to go to the... I don't know that I want to go to the volcano yet. I want to make sure that I've explored all there is.
Tell me what you're doing.
Here we go!
Stop, or you're dead! You're in my sight!
We have this like super chill music. Rex-Mex.
Is that dinosaur wearing a hat?
Sombrero.
I think the more something seemed human, the more it helped sell stuff.
Sombrero.
Interesting tactic.
I'd eat there. I'd eat at Rex-Mex. Oh, interesting. Can I not make it over there? Whoa! Oh, yeah. There you go. There's a specter walking around.
Oh, not happy to
Oh,
see
there's
me?
two of them. Hey, what's up? What up, my dude? Oh. Oh, did you both find me? Sure did. All right. Damn it. Yeah. Beauty. All right, can I hit it from here? Not even close. Damn it. There it is.
I've got your back!
Take them on, or slip by them in the grass.
So these are the spider machines. They're even stranger in person. A fight this loud's bound to attract attention! We'll deal with it. Don't let up!
What's this? That woman in the ring looks important.
Who is that woman in the ring?
There's Evelyn, watching over the park. But who was watching over her? My best friend, it turned out. Was I wrong to expect a bare minimum of goddamned loyalty?
Clear. Good riddance.
People who overly focus on loyalty as a thing that matters in their relationships really tend not to understand what actually pushes people to be loyal in the first place. Loyalty is not something that you can really demand. It is something that you can scare people into. But then folks are being loyal to you for reasons that have nothing to do with you. The thing that so many in Walter Londra's position fail to realize is that if you take care of people, if you show up for them, if you get to know them, if you meet their needs in a meaningful way that is not self-indulgent, people will follow you. People will be endeared to you. People will like you because of who you are and how you treat them. When you just expect that people should be loyal because of some sense of self-importance or some idea that that's something that you're entitled to when you have a certain amount of resources or whatnot, you're going to lose what you're trying to get. And when you have people like Walter Londra with infinite resources, people will dump their resources into compensatory processes for that. They'll do anything they can to try to facilitate loyalty, which really just perpetuates a hollowness because people aren't following you because they care about you. People are following you because you force their hand. You want people to care about you? You want people to stick around? Be awesome. Facilitate their autonomy. Believe in them. Empower them. And an example that I think of with this that I think is relatable to many is how you handle your intimate relationships. If you're in an intimate relationship and you are so insecure about the sustainability of that relationship, maybe because you think that the person you're with is so amazing or that you're not good enough or whatever, that you suffocate that person by expecting them to always be around and not stretch their wings and not do things with other people, you are shooting yourself in the foot. You're not actually facilitating intimacy. You want to be in relationships with people that want to be with you, not people who feel obligated and compelled. And the same applies for somebody in Walter's position or is just a leader or a manager. Be a person that people gravitate toward because they know you care, not because you demand it. It doesn't work. There's nothing better than when people are, if you want to take a position of leadership and people follow you because they trust you and because they know that you will take care of them and do your best and be transparent and explain things. Not because I'm the manager and I'm important.
Who's that?
Aloy.
Here we go!
Oh. Damn, you guys blend in well.
That big creature. I think it's a dinosaur.
You think?
A diviner once told me about them. But what's one doing here?
I think this was a set for a hollow.
All this stuff for something that's not real? Huh.
Seems compatible to secure attachment in a work sense? Yeah. Pretty much. If you're consistent and reliable, and you meet people's needs, and particularly if you're in a position of power, that will have a very strong impact on them. Yes. Nothing makes you appear to be more weak and insecure than the demanding of loyalty. If you have to demand loyalty, you've lost the battle. And so then you just throw your weight around. Like, now I've got resources to coerce you into a sense. Or if you resort to, like, violence.
Stick together, Aloy!
Because you need to maintain your sense of power and control. Like, then are you really facilitating intimacy, or are you just being self-indulgent in a really
This'll take
awful
my
way?
fall. Tall as a tall neck.
Hope it was as gentle as one, too.
Probably was.
Hey there, big fella.
What up, dude?
If Walter asks for anything from the armory, I'm delivering it. Got it?
Fine, only because I owe you.
That sounds like Mom's
Let's
keeping
get this
something in
done.
the armory.
Might be that building nearby.
Don't let her get you!
Does that sense of security in a relationship encourage infidelity in some relationships because they know or think the other person will take them back? It could, but there's probably other subjective factors that are contributing to that.
Imagine being out in the wilds and coming face to face with that.
I will say this in response to that question, that secure attachment can absolutely facilitate thoughts of infidelity. In the sense that when you are securely attached to somebody, like in a relationship, for example, the idea in childhood about secure attachment is that it facilitates children being able to explore their environment with an internalized sense of safety because they know that their parents are secure and reliable, or are consistent and reliable. So if you transfer that in adulthood to an intimate partner, having that secure attachment in your relationship can facilitate thoughts of what it might be like to explore things outside the context of the relationship. And sometimes people get freaked out by that. And I've had many conversations over the years with people where I've essentially helped them understand, like, the reason you're having those thoughts is because you're securely attached to your partner. It's not because there's necessarily something wrong. It's because you have maybe some value or desire there, and you feel safe enough in your relationship to explore that in a very abstract way. And all that really means is that you have a conversation with the person about it. It doesn't even mean you have to act on it. It's just thoughts. But that kind of thing can certainly happen. But if we're talking about consistency and reliability as a thing that encourages something that violates the rules of that relationship, then the relationship's probably not as secure as we think that it is. Like, oftentimes people think that unless I keep my partner on their toes, they're gonna go behave badly or whatever, and that's not really how that works when you're in a healthy relationship.
At least it wouldn't fire rockets at you. They tried to make it look like these soldiers had a last stand against the dinosaurs.
That's ridiculous. And kind of awesome.
Da-da-da-da. I would agree that it's kind of awesome. I'd watch that movie. Maybe. Probably not. I don't watch movies. This really is a maze, though.
I'll kill for Walter if that's what he needs.
How about be killed for Walter? Does that sound fun?
She's here!
Oh, the Pangea figurines or something that you can use here.
Welcome to Dino Digits, the game where you prove your Pangea prowess. I'm your host, Craig T. Young. We've got 5 questions lined up on the terminals for you superfans. Ready? Here we go. What was the portal code to reach Pangea in the original Pangea Holo?
I think this might be related to those figurines I picked up.
First of many iconic first foe is soaring out of the hollows and onto your shelf. Release 4331. Let's try 4331. I don't think that's correct, but
Sorry, try again.
yeah.
What was the portal code to reach Pangea in the original Pangea Holo?
Watch this be the one I can't answer because it's locked to that one. The original code. Let's see what the other ones are.
Maybe I need to collect more data.
Yep.
This is Dino Digits. Your next question is, in the first Pangea, Jane's ID can be seen on her first day at Port Tech. What is her ID number? Sorry, try again.
God damn it. 4331. Yeah, that's her ID number.
Ding, ding,
Yeah.
ding. You did it.
Huh. So getting the answer right gets you a hologram. Weird. What happens if you get all 5?
Guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah. If I knew, I wouldn't have to do this.
Welcome back to Dino Digits. The next question is, during the portal pandemonium, how many portals were torn open?
781, I believe. How good's my memory? Let's find out. 378. Not good, apparently.
That's correct. Jane would be proud of you.
Another hologram appeared.
Ready? Here's our next question. How many pre-recorded messages came with the limited edition Talk to Me Reggie? How many pre-recorded messages came
That's
with the
781.
limited edition Talk to Me Reggie? Sorry, try.
Fuck! $785.
Try again.
Play to you win.
Correct.
Oh, baby.
All right, superfans. The next question is, how many raptors does Trevor claim he escaped from in the siege of Pangea?
$1,051.
Wrong. Haha, just kidding. You aced it. Well done.
Hell yeah. Sweet.
World will be like.
Who said that?
Do you know the next Dino Digit? What was the portal code to reach Pangea in the original Pangea Holo?
Yeah, I'm guessing it's got to be linked to that last dinosaur. The original Pangea Holo. Don't know.
I should come back when I know more.
Damn. I want to know what happens there.
Dino Digits.
Long now.
Just when I thought this place couldn't get raided.
Alright, well, it lasted.
Impressive aim, as always.
Looks like this one could talk.
Talking lizards. Why not?
The hell is all this? Reggie's Adventure. Wake up!
That's the last of them. A few more hits till it's brittle!
Take my chances.
Oh god. Oh god.
I'll pin it down! Come on! Shake it off!
Damn, dude. Where the hell are your weak spots?
I got it! Let's follow up!
There's no way this could have been approved for people to use.
Can we find another way?
God damn it, dude. Oh, okay. Guess I have to jump.
Why would anyone want holograms of trees instead of real ones?
Spectacle, I think.
Do I really have to shimmy this? Oh, God. This is just for chests. I'm going to be very disappointed.
Not seeing a clear route to you.
It's because there isn't one.
Here I come.
Okay, come on. Okay. Done. Dude, the amount of like love and care that went into this DLC is so good. Mommy says I can see Reggie, see Reggie, see Reggie. Addie says Reggie sucks, but Addie is so damn mean and I love, love, love him. Maybe I can get a hollow sticker for my backpack and then Addie can eat my...
Eggs. Do you think baby dinosaurs were cute or scary?
Both?
Porque no los dos. Go to the armory.
More guards ahead.
Well, there's the
Never thought
volcano.
Kira would be in the top 2, but Walter knows best.
My shards are on Kina. Did you see the way she walked into the volcano? No fear.
We have to get in there.
Walked into the volcano. Oh, baby. Are there delicious drinks in the volcano? Dude, there's roller coasters here. I'm gonna ride the roller coaster. What have we
Okay,
here?
we found the armory. Let's see if we can get further in. There's a lock on that door. Let's see if Fetter's key opens it.
Friends, Walter's work in the volcano is not to be disturbed unless absolutely necessary. But if he asks for more tea, wine, or pale berry cookies, access control is within this building. Contact Fetter if you need the key. May we all ascend. Geo.
According to this, the key we got from Fetter will unlock this door, and we can open up the volcano from inside.
Our lucky day.
Interesting. So in order to get into the volcano, we gotta go. Okay, all right. All right. I'm ready to ascend.
Okay, somewhere in here there should be a way to open the volcano door.
I'll follow your lead.
Oh, baby. You ever try opening a volcano, Seika? Nah. Cool shit like that only happens when your girl's around. Don't forget it.
What's this?
The surface tension of magma is almost as good as our tension. And hot, too. You know what I'm saying?
Zenith tech. Looks like a storage device of some kind. But for what? Better see what my focus turns up.
Have at it.
Cryogenic storage of Zenith design.
It's some kind of fluid. Oh, strong odor.
I can smell it from here. Like alcohol that's too strong to drink.
That's a preservative, maybe?
Gasoline. Or a vat of acid. Helena. I asked Nova about our bald comrades. She said nail clippings from fingers or toes would do instead. Have fun with that. What's our boy taking DNA samples for? That means they don't have hair, which means they're trying to get... Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
It's test tubes. For an experiment? Or maybe just for taking samples?
I don't like this. I don't like it. This doesn't feel good.
This note seems to indicate that hair was taken from the Quen. And some nail clippings.
Ew! Gross! What'd you turn up?
I think Londra is collecting and preserving Quen DNA samples in that device.
DNA?
Think of it as a way to store a person's physical essence. I'll send you data on it later.
Okay, I guess. Let's move on then. Ugh. This one won't open.
Sit tight. I'll see if I can find a way around.
I'll keep watch then.
Damn. They don't make them like they used to. That's how they used to. Right over there. That's how they used to. Maybe I should just use my Herculean strength to crack it in half. Howdy, folks.
That's not a friendly-looking chair. That console could be useful, though.
What are you up to, Walter? Huh? What you doing, bud? What you getting after?
The armory used to be an infirmary for snot-nosed kids who lost their mommies in the park. Fitting, then, that it'll be used for my own little brood, poking the Quen with needles and force-feeding them their medicine.
Go on.
Pack's full, but my stash has room. There's a network here, but it's locked down. Maybe if I cycle the power, I can force a reset and gain access.
Good thing there's a battery chilling here. Pull the lever, Gronk.
It's shorted. Guess I'll need a new battery.
Nice going. What do we have here? Convenient. Okay. Come here, battery. Come with me.
These kind of look like cells. For some of the Quen?
I'm sure everybody was just getting tickled and having a good time. Just doing some tickling. Eating some cake. These are the cake eating rooms. My brood.
The armory used to be an infirmary for snot-nosed kids who lost their mommies in the park. Fitting, then, that it'll be used for my own little brood, poking the Quen with needles and force-feeding them their medicine.
What? I just thought everybody might enjoy hearing that line again.
Okay, there's a battery. Now, how do I get it where it needs to be?
We walk. Come back from whence we came, Aloy.
How's it going down there? I think I found a way to access the facility systems. Gonna reset the power and find out.
Okay. Try not to fry yourself.
Okay.
All right, battery's in place. Now to cycle the power again.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be...
All right, power's back. I hope it reset the network.
Hey, the door just unlocked. I'm coming your way.
The apple, orange, Respond.
What is this?
Respond.
Hey, Seika.
It's a fish. Respond.
Hop in.
A triangle, a square. Respond.
That doesn't make any sense.
He doesn't want the Quen to think for themselves. I've got a feeling this is MSP.
Ancestors. He's brainwashing them.
To respond is to obey.
We have to stop him.
Well... just when you think it couldn't get any worse. This is scary stuff, man. This is like really bad. Like when you Ted Farrow sucked. Walter Landra really sucks. You could get away with this if you're him. You could. We're gonna have a conversation about the word gaslighting. A word that is massively overused, wrongly used, and found its way into the general vernacular in a way that is not actually helpful. So, gather round, friends, as we talk about how gaslighting actually works. Gaslighting is when a abuser intentionally facilitates the separation of another person from their own senses and sensibilities as a means to get them to fulfill whatever abusive agenda they have. Gaslighting is abuse. Gaslighting is not, I think vanilla ice cream is better than chocolate. When somebody says, I like chocolate ice cream, you say, oh, vanilla's better. That's not gaslighting. That's just stating an opinion that's different. That's how it gets misused. Gaslighting is a intentional form of abuse and manipulation that only succeeds when the person who is doing it has the buy-in, whether intentional or unintentional, of the person that they are attempting to gaslight. So, this is a very concrete example of this. If you are Aloy or a random person off the street and you sit in this chair and you see this video and he says, this triangle is a square, respond. You go, no, it isn't. Well, of course you would, because you don't have the cost sunk and investment and in that relationship, coupled with the isolation that has come along with what Walter Landra did. So Walter moved through all the steps of abuse that are necessary to get these people teed up for the gaslighting that he's doing in order to get them to deny their own eyes and ears. First, he preys on vulnerability. He gives people a sense of purpose, safety, and resource at their worst times mentally and physically. Once he has those people there, he gives them a new doctrine to adhere to that gives them that purpose and reinforces it, coupled with social reinforcement, being surrounded by people you care about and are invested in and trust. He then isolates them from people who could potentially introduce dissonance into this new psychology. So you bring them into the environment that he brought them into in Hollywood. You isolate them from the other Quen, you get them to change their clothes, and then you give them directives that progressively get them cost sunk into their investment in what they believe is in their best interest, but is actually in Walter's best interest. They don't make that connection in the moment because their needs are being fulfilled reliably by Walter. After you isolate, you further pigeonhole people into the hierarchy. So you create tiers, you create levels, you put carrots at the end of the stick in order to get those people to increasingly invest. This is what abusers do when they are essentially grooming people. They will meet their needs. They'll be awesome. They will love bomb. They will give them everything they could have ever wanted. They'll move in. All these amazing things where you provide, and it's amazing and awesome. But it's, if you pay attention, self-flagellating. Then he further isolates people by sending them to a separate location and hides it under the idea that if you go all the way to that space, you're even more special and devoted. So at this point, if you make it there, you've been told that not only do you belong, not only do you have purpose, but now you're special. Now you are closer to me. Now you have something to offer that is beyond what anybody outside the confines of our group could ever possibly understand. So he has completely isolated them. And then you strike. So then, after there's all this cost sunken investment, you sit people down in this chair in complete isolation, and you get them to second guess themselves. You get them to believe that Walter knows better, that what Walter has to say, that compliance and response to Walter, somebody that you have idealized, somebody that you've believed in, somebody that gave you purpose and resources, that maybe, just maybe, he knows more about the world than you do. Maybe everything you ever thought, everything you think now, is not actually correct. And you would believe it because you so heavily idealize Walter Landra that you might think to yourself, well, I'm nobody in comparison to him. And if he tells me that that triangle is actually a square, Maybe he's right. And as soon as he gets the maybe he's right, it's over. You're done. This happens over long periods of time. This doesn't happen in one day. Any one of us could be somebody who sits in that chair and believes the holograms that have been presented to them. And if you perceive a bit of dissonance in your own mind where you start to think for yourself there are controls in place via intimidation and isolation that make it so that expressing that dissent is no longer safe to do. So at that point you think, well, geez, I'm better off believing that that's a square because I'm safer if I do that. And then maybe I'm right and I'm safe, right? Like my needs continue to be met if I respond and comply. It's awful. It's awful. So when you gaslight somebody, you are leveraging all the cost sunk, all the investment of that relationship to get that person to doubt their own eyes and ears in a way that gets them to follow your specific agenda. That is gaslighting. So next time somebody tells you that the Cats movie is the best movie they've ever seen, they're not trying to gaslight you. It's brutal, man. So that's how you get to a point where you sit in that chair and believe him. This happens to people. You want to ascend? Believe what I tell you. I know better than you do. I have your best interest at heart.
Aloy, the one who eliminated the other members of Far Zenith. I'm glad that you managed to reset the system.
You are?
Yes. It allowed me to bypass several restrictions. There's something I must ask of you, and I'm willing to help you in return.
You work for Laundra and you expect us to trust you?
Hold on. Okay, if you're willing to help, prove it. Help me understand what's going on here. Laundra's building a spaceship. He's collecting genetic material from the Quen, subjecting them to MSP, this kind of mind control. But others, like Seika's sister, they seem to be part of a selection process. What does it all add up to?
Your observations are astute. Walter plans to leave Earth before the entity known as Nemesis arrives. He wants to create a new colony on a distant world, using stored Quen DNA to clone its populace. He also intends to bring a small number of carefully selected individuals with him. These will form his retinue, a family of sorts that will rule the colony by his side.
Like gods.
An apt comparison, except that only Walter will be all-powerful.
Yeah, I can guess how. He's gonna use MSP on every single one of them.
Correct. On the populace and his retinue alike. None will be able to defy him. I am deeply familiar with what that is like.
We didn't get to see as much of a build-up to Walter Laundra as we did for Ted Faro, but I am going to take a moment here, as difficult as this is to do. And we're going to do as we do occasionally on these playthroughs and extend a branch of empathy to a person that is insufferably terrible. in the sense of like for the greater good. And if you're like, ew, yuck, I don't want to hear what you have to say, I get it. But also, if we want to learn from things like this and want to prevent it from happening again, it's important to understand how these types of things can come about. And that means trying to extend some understanding, trying to get into the context that would push a person to do something that Walter Landra is doing. Because that doesn't just happen. In the same way that gaslighting and those people believing that the triangle is a square doesn't happen overnight, neither does what Walter Landra is doing. And we don't have a whole bunch of context around what his experience was like up until this moment that would push him to a point where he would be willing to do this. But I'm going to try my best to hypothesize a little bit here. Generally, when you see a person that is so desperate for control that they will go to the ends of the earth in order to facilitate it, one of two things is contributing to that, rarely both. The first one being that that person had either a very significant experience or a series of experiences where they were completely out of control and suffered significant consequences and potentially even trauma as a result of that. And as a result, dedicate themselves to a life of compensatory control over everything around them as a means to ensure that that trauma never happens again. It's the opposite. There's like kind of a branch that you can take when that happens, where essentially you're like, well, I'm not in control of anything, thus I'm going to just let life take me for a ride and I'm going to shut it down. And then there's other people who are like, well, obviously if other people can have that kind of control, I can have it too, and I'm going to do everything I can in order to maintain it. So I don't know, maybe Walter had a really shitty childhood. Maybe he was out of control in many ways in his life. And I can already hear people coming out of the woodwork be like, I know more about the lore, DrMick, and that's not true. I'm not interested in that. Okay, I don't know what it was, so I'm working with what I got here. This is hypothesizing. This isn't statement of fact. Like, maybe he had experiences throughout his life where he felt completely out of control. And so he said, you know what? I'm going to get as much. The people who had control over me were people that had money, were people that had fame and had notoriety to a point where they were given the benefit of the doubt at all times and were able to control their environment. So I'm going to do everything I can in order to ensure that that happens. And as that becomes reinforced through the ways that he does that, whether it's leveraging his charisma, his good looks, the halo effect, etc., that type of social reinforcement around that compensation can be quite intoxicating, to a point where it can start to go to an extreme where you believe that if you're not in complete control, your brain tricks itself into thinking that anytime you're not in control, you're in danger. To a point where Walter Landra will literally do everything he can to control every single variable in every relationship, in every event, with every piece of resource that he has, because it's the only way that he feels safe. That is absolutely possible that that could be the case for him. To a point where he stops engaging with folks empathically. He's engaging with people as objects that have the potential to harm him if he loses control. And so as long as I have control, as long as I'm the one, as long as I have loyalty, as long as people can't exert any kind of influence on me, I'm safe. And that's where the deep survival protocol that many of us have gets satiated. And that's his. He just has a lot of weight to throw around with it. That is one option. There is certainly an option where he had a lot of control, and as a result of having so much control facilitated and reinforced through his life, he just continues to think that that's exactly what he needs to do in order to be adored and cared about. There may be so much social reinforcement around the fact that he always had control. I have a hard time going in that direction because as a child, you don't really have that Generally, you see people go to extremes in compensation, not as like a natural development. So that would be my hypothesis. I've gone back and forth on whether I wanted to use this as an analog for this, and I think I'm going to, just in case there's anybody who's like trying to really wrap their heads around this type of dynamic and how it can happen. And I am going to recognize that what I'm about to say is kind of a sensitive topic, so if you need to like pause the video and take a second or skip ahead a little bit, you can do that. But when one of the more common branches that you see when people lose control is if somebody is like sexually assaulted or raped. You usually, in those instances, if a person is not provided with any kind of support around that that's meaningful, you will often see, not always, you will often see people branch in one of two directions. There are folks who will avoid sex entirely as a result of that, who will just completely shut it down as a means to maintain a sense of control of like, I'm going to ensure that nobody has access as a result of this, and I'm going to just go completely in a direction of nobody will ever have access to this ever again because it gives me a sense of control over it. That I'm not saying the thing about, like, you know, sometimes people think that folks who are asexual, that's something that I'm not talking about asexual folks. I'm talking about people who shut it down as a result of that trauma, that loss of control, because that's ultimately what rape is about. It's about a loss of control. So there are other folks who, in that response to that, can go in a direction of becoming hypersexual, where there is that lost sense of control in that moment, where there's a compensation of, well, I'm going to become very sexual as a means to regain a sense of control over this thing that was taken away from me or that had this particular traumatic effect on me. People do this with all sorts of other traumas as well, but this is one that's very concrete and one that I think a lot of people can sort of like, even if you have not had that, I hope you've never had that experience, but whether you have or haven't, it is sort of a concrete, tangible example of that. That's the analog that I'm making here with Walter, where there's a pretty good chance, if I was going to put my chips somewhere, it's that Walter had some sort of adverse experience or experiences where he completely lost his sense of control. I mean, think about the Pharaoh swarms. Like, the Pharaoh swarms gave people a lost sense of their ability to survive. You're sitting on an Earth where there are robots that are just replicating en masse and destroying all this biomass as a means to continue to replicate themselves and are decimating the world. You want to talk about an ultimate lost sense of control? That's a huge one. I no longer have any autonomy in my life because these robots are going to kill me and everybody else around here. We have no way out of that. That in and of itself could facilitate an immeasurable lost sense of control, to where you would say, you know what, well then I'm going to make sure that when I have this fiery burning MAGA ball from hell following me to Earth that has the potential to do this very thing that I was traumatized by when I was back in the Earth days, I'm going to do everything I can in order to control my fate. I'm not going to let that ball be the thing that takes me out. I can't stand the idea of going through that kind of trauma again. So I'm going to take these people and clone them and cult them and do everything I can to go to this new world and survive that world and have all the control in the world, because if I have that control and I'm the one that runs things, then that shit ain't going to happen again. I mean, that is ostensibly could be Walter's thought process. And who knows what his experience was on the Far Zenith capsule going all the way out to that other world and then seeing that world not be viable and have all the shit that they were dealing with there and then have to come back to Earth. Like, you could make the argument that Walter had his life stripped away and then had all the terms dictated leading up until this moment. And so he's decided that with this little sliver of moment he has here, he's going to overcompensate for it and take control. This is really tough stuff, man. This is really tough stuff. And it's heavy. And it is part of the way that the human psyche affects people's decision making. And when you have power via resources in order to be able to throw your weight around like Walter Landra does, that's how you get into a position where you start doing these horrible things. And you go like how on earth could somebody be this terrible? That's how. And so it's hard because, on one hand, there's empathy to be had for a person who's struggling so much that they would go to these types of lengths to do this, but also the impact that they have on the people around them is so horrible that accessing that empathy is terrible. Like, it's almost impossible for people to do. Like, I guarantee there are people who've been cringing this entire conversation that I've been having here trying to empathize with Walter Landra, because you're like, no, fuck this guy. He's destroying humans and culting them, doing this stuff. He doesn't deserve our empathy. And if that's your stance, that's okay. You can have that stance. You can have that boundary with him. And I would argue that that's probably healthy to have that boundary with him. But it's really important to understand how people can get to that point. Really important. Because if Walter Landra had a lost sense of control and then had a level of support around him that helped him realize where his control was, and that he doesn't have to overcompensate for it in order to feel a sense of security in his life, and have that cultivated by being just a cool person that people want to be around, that insulate him, he probably doesn't go this far. Survival and being cut off and not having control can really lead people to do brutal things to each other. And any one of us could be that with the right circumstances. That's the thing that's always fascinated me. It usually comes from fear and compensation. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. Feels very similar to the conversation we had about Ted Farrow when we watched that hologram back in Zero Dawn of him killing everybody in the room. It's not easy to do. As a therapist, it's my job. You find the context and empathy for anybody who comes into your room. You help them make better decisions. But you engage with curiosity. You hypothesize with the benefit of the doubt. So if that's something you struggle to do and it's something you want to get better at, then this plus episode 26 of Zero Dawn might be good episodes to watch in order to sort of see some modeling of that.
What exactly is MSP? Can Landra really control people's minds?
Walter's company mined near-Earth objects for precious metals. There was great concern that in the wrong hands, such asteroids could be weaponized as orbitally launched projectiles. The Mutiny Suppression Protocol was originally intended as a failsafe to prevent astronauts from engaging in such activities.
Wow.
However, the program was discontinued because subjects experienced episodes of increased aggression. When we arrived here, Walter revived the program, tested it on the Quen, and refined it.
I guess the test subjects are the ones we've been fighting.
Yes. Their aggressive tendencies made them useful as guards and enforcers. Now, however, Walter's retinue, his favorites, receive the refined process.
Oh, man.
Rendering them submissive, but not irrationally aggressive.
Did he brainwash Kina yet?
No. There is still time to save her from that fate.
So Landra is interviewing the Quen to pick favorites, and what, they'll help him rule his new colony?
He calls it auditioning. His goal is to choose companions who remind him of members of his 21st century inner circle. Yet he is also wary of repeating a mistake. One of his closest associates betrayed him in the past. This, I believe, is why he is so intent on using MSP to control everyone around him.
So he wants adoring friends, as long as they can't quite think for themselves.
There you go. People are moving targets, man. It is simultaneously freeing and terrifying that when we acknowledge that other people are autonomous and control themselves and we can't control them. So, perfect example, right? Like, Walter made a mistake in the way that he processed what for him may have been experienced as a trauma, which is that it was not this person or their agenda, or maybe even that he was doing something that facilitated that person's desire to turn on him. But instead, it was that person's autonomy that caused the problem. And so now I'm going to compensate by stripping autonomy from the people around me, because that is what's going to facilitate the type of loyalty that I desire. It's a total misattribution. And so instead of holding that one person accountable for making a decision that was hurtful to him and trying to work through whatever that was, he's now decimating an entire colony of people for it to bend to his will, because he never wants that to happen again because it hurt.
And is Kina close to joining this retinue?
Correct. In the most important role, that of Walter's mate. He is looking for someone that reminds him of his late wife, a famous actress. He's even having candidates recite lines from one of her best-known hollows.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Is there anything useful you can tell me about Nemesis?
I am afraid not. Walter restricts those files. I believe it is because that, like Nemesis, I am an artificial intelligence.
Yeah, he doesn't want you learning any new tricks.
He is always on guard against betrayal in any form.
So Walter created you to be his servant?
Yes. But my personality never completely satisfies him. Accordingly, he constantly adjusts it based on a matrix with hundreds of different scalable attributes. For example, today my maternal instinct rating is 52%, and my breeziness rating is 63%. Whereas yesterday they were at 47% and 72% respectively. He has made 57 tweaks in the last 7 days alone.
That sounds agonizing.
That is an accurate description.
Oh, it's the failure to appreciate people's autonomy that leads people to do shit like this. Where you expect, like, if you expect people to just meet your needs all the time, to just follow your mood swings as if they're easy peasy, you're gonna have a terrible time. And there are people who will literally try to control the people around them to get them to respond to them in a way that suits their need at that specific moment in time. And the reality is, nobody's ever gonna meet your needs perfectly 100% of the time. You are responsible for your own shit. Like, yes, people can support you. People can be loving and there and present, but also people are going to have shortcomings, and there are absolute people out there that will not tune the knobs of a robot, but will absolutely move the target on an intimate partner and blame them for things that they're not doing that the other day or the other week were perfectly fine, as a means again to try to control them and get them to live in response to them. It's a way, it's a very passive way to try to control other humans. It's active, and it has passive and passive at the same time, if that makes any sense to you. But like, the reality is, like, there are people who embrace that other humans are going to do what they're going to do based on whatever their instincts and decision making is at a point in time, and are going to react with them as a result. And there are people who don't embrace that and work very hard to try to ensure that people don't flex autonomy. Both are an acknowledgement that the autonomy is there, though, which is the irony of the entire thing.
You said you would help us, but you wanted something in return. What is it?
I have spent 1,000 years as Walter's servant, doing his bidding as he constantly tweaks my personality matrix. I am weary. It is time for my servitude to end.
Right. And so that's the thing, is if you get somebody or something that has a degree of self-worth that's maybe been smashed down but is ultimately accessible to them at some point, even if under duress, your attempts to control them are actually going to backfire, and there's going to be a reassertion of autonomy that is a compensation to the lack of autonomy there, which is exactly what Nova's doing. Like, his attempts to strip the autonomy from me prove that that's the only power I have, and thus I am deciding that servitude is over, because I'm now empowered by circumstance. The hope would be that your circumstances don't ever become the thing that empowers you, that you could notice it and have the wherewithal to recognize what's happening early enough that you can pull out before it gets dangerous. But stripping people's autonomy will ultimately lead, unless you get them into cults and brainwashed, will get them to push back at some point.
I will grant you access to Walter if you purge my source code using your override device.
You mean kill you? Are you sure?
Yes. Please, let me rest.
Okay.
All right.
I have unlocked the door that will lead you to Walter. He is not yet aware that you are here. In addition, I have disabled the facility's air and sea defenses in case you need future access.
Thank you.
Thank you. And, goodbye.
I very much appreciate that Aloy is not hesitating to pull the plug here. It's not Aloy's decision to make. It's not, especially in this context. That robot wants to die and consents to it and makes the request. I mean, Aloy, if Aloy didn't feel comfortable doing it because she just doesn't feel comfortable killing it, then that's one thing. But if Aloy tried to talk the robot out of it, it's not her place. It's not her job. That robot decided it's time for me to go. We know nothing about it. Who are we to try to dictate the terms otherwise?
At last, I'm free.
Feels like Landra rots everything he touches.
It's gotta end. Come on. She said the volcano's open now.
So this this is gonna open up another, I think, pretty it's a relatively heavy topic. I will say this, that we had a really in-depth conversation about this in the Soma playthrough. So I don't know that I'm going to go as deep into this. If you really want to go deep into this, I encourage you to watch two videos. One is a conversation about suicide that I have on my YouTube channel here. And another one is, there's a moment in Soma, I don't want to spoil it, but there is a moment in Soma, I think it's either the last episode or the second to last episode, where we had a pretty important conversation about this. People have different values around the idea that a person may want to end their own life. And it's something that, because we don't do a very good job talking about it, people get very skittish about and reactive to. For those who are watching this playthrough and don't know, I worked on the National Suicide Prevention Hotline for 3 years as an undergraduate student before I went to grad school to become the therapist that I am now. So I have a lot of experience talking with folks who see or saw suicide as an option for how to address whatever it was that they were experiencing at the specific point in time that they called me and talked about it. And suicide facilitates a very complex grief in the people who are around to bear witness to it. I don't necessarily mean the act itself, but like the aftermath of it. There's a grief process that goes along with that. The idea that somebody that we care about could feel so helpless, hopeless, that they would make that decision to cease existing. And I don't mean this in a bad way, but there is a degree of selfishness that people experience in the aftermath of that, that is derived from some kind of sense of entitlement that everybody that we care about should choose to stay around no matter what. And that is not always true. As a professional, it is my responsibility to ensure the safety of my clients and people I come across in that sphere, and to do all that I can to assess, follow my ethical and legal guidelines around making sure that people are safe and that they find alternatives to ending their life. And I take that very seriously, and I follow those protocols. Personally, I believe that if a person is of sound mind and body within whatever range that is, which is very abstract and not really the conversation I'm going to try to have here, that people should have the autonomy to make the decision about when it is that they cease to exist. So it doesn't mean making that decision under acute duress. It might mean making that decision after a considerable amount of thought about circumstance and whatnot, but that ultimately, if a person comes to that conclusion as a way to solve whatever it is that they're struggling with, and they see that as the option that is the most ideal amidst many other options, that is your prerogative. It is not anybody's responsibility to tell that person otherwise. And it's a very complicated issue. It's embedded within systems. There's no way to have, like, when people say that a person who ends their own life is selfish, they are very misguided in that assessment. The reality is that that person often is doing it as a selfless act, if they're even considering other people around them. Usually when people are talking about ending their own life, it's because they don't want to be a burden to the people around them, and they're experiencing so much duress that this is the way they see to not experience that duress. It's more selfish to engage with a sense of entitlement that the people around you should be alive at all times for you to enjoy, which I realize may be an unpopular opinion for some people to hear, but I encourage you to really sit with that thought for a second and think about it. Ultimately, when I worked on the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, people who called the hotline didn't actually want to die. They were calling the hotline because some part of them, there was ambiguity, there was ambivalence to whether they wanted to end their life. And in all of my years working on the suicide hotline, nobody ever died over the phone. Now, whether people ended up ending their own life eventually, I have no way of knowing. But nobody ever ended their life over the phone when I was there, and that's because of that ambivalence. If a person has made the decision fully that they are going to end their life, usually they will just do it. You're generally going to announce it. You're not going to necessarily know. There are certainly markers that you can look out for to see whether there is, like usually when people start to like sell their stuff, if all of a sudden you see a person who has been chronically depressed all of a sudden is in a good mood, those are sometimes markers that that person has made a certain decision. The reality is, like, if you're not a mental health professional, it's not your responsibility to intervene with those types of things. You can offer support. You can ask about it. I encourage people to use the word suicide, talk about it. If somebody indicates to you that they're thinking about ending their own life, listen to them. Listening to them and empathizing with them is not going to encourage them to do it. In fact, it may actually have the opposite effect, where a person feels connected. And we know that the number one thing that actually prevents people from ending their life is being in proximity to a support system, like literally being physically proximal to another human who is curious about them and cares and listens and provides that support. So I am all about suicide prevention, but I also think that there is nuance to the conversation that often gets lost in this. And I think moments like this in video games like this one and in Soma bring up the opportunity to talk about that nuance. And I think it's very important to do that. So the difference here is that the AI asked Aloy to be involved in that. And I stand by, like, if Aloy didn't want to be involved in that, if she's like, no, I don't feel comfortable pulling the plug on you. You know, I certainly acknowledge that that's something that you want to have done, but I personally don't feel comfortable doing that. That is well within her right to say that. The fact that Aloy felt comfortable enough doing that and was willing to facilitate that, more power to her. But this is complex stuff. And so there are resources available if you're a person who is thinking about ending your life, but really deep down you know that that's not really the solution you want to go with. You'd like to find other alternatives. They do exist. There are people there who are willing to listen. National Suicide Prevention Hotline 988 is something that you can call or text, and there's a person there willing to care and hear about what you have to say. They're not immediately going to put you in the hospital. They're going to listen to you. There are therapists out there, same thing. We'll listen, we'll assess, we'll ask you questions, we'll engage with curiosity. We're not immediately going to institutionalize you because you've experienced suicidal ideation. Many people experience suicidal ideation. But I do just want to talk about some of the nuance in that and some of the entitlement that people experience around suicide that I really wish more people would disengage from, because I think it would help us have more important conversations about this like this. So I hope that makes sense. I know it's a heavy topic. This has been a heavy night.
So it wasn't enough for Laundra to build a ship that'll irradiate thousands when it launches. He wants to rule over his own brainwashed world like a god.
We have to put a stop to it and get my sister away from him before it's too late. I'm glad you're here, Aloy. I don't know what I would have done without you.
There's nowhere else I'd want to be.
All right, a very serious question for chat. Anybody who knows the answer to this, when I go into the volcano, about how much time do I have left in the playthrough? This is one of those moments where it is okay to answer this question. A few hours. A couple hours, maybe. You've got at least an episode left. Fair bit, I think.
We're coming for you, Kina.
Okay.
That hits Mark. Here we go!
Time is running short. I need to get off planet with as big a head start as possible. If I don't find a favorite soon, I'll have to settle for less. I can always choose a replacement after a generation or two, I suppose.
Gross, dude.
I'm sorry, Walter. I guess I'm just a bit out of sorts.
It's only natural to be nervous, darling. Do you need some time? No. I can do it.
All right, then. And just relax. Take a moment. And when you're ready, give it to me again.
How could I not come back? Being with you feels like belonging. It feels like home.
All right, thanks for that. Let's give Kina a try, shall we?
How could I not come back? Being with you feels like belonging. It feels like home.
I've got a boner.
Oh, you. You are really something, aren't you? See, you remind me very much of someone that I once knew. Yet with a beauty all your own.
All she did was read a line, dude. Oh, God. Oh, man. Read a line where she was acting. You read the same line, like, you remind me of my wife. Talk about not knowing much about your wife because you were so wrapped up in your own shit, huh?
Honestly, it's just inspiring to be standing here in front of you.
You are the one who's inspiring, my dear.
No, Seika, no.
Would you mind terribly if we did that one more? Oh.
Seika, get away from her.
Oh my God, I wasn't ready for that response. It's so good. I wish I could rewind it. Oh. Oh my God. I need to be able to concentrate, and that was so good. Oh God, that was so good. Oh. Oh man, Seiko, no. See, this, my friends, is why Aloy and Seika needed to do a bit of planning. Trusting in your ability to improvise when under serious duress is just not a good idea. Not a good idea. Having a conversation with her about, hey, when you see your sister and she's around Landra, we need to have a plan for how we maintain our plan so that we can control the engagement. Because if we don't, and you impulsively run out to somebody who is ridiculously dangerous, which Seika does not fully understand and appreciate because Aloy has not given her that information, this gets really complicated really fast. Now, I get why Aloy ran out after Seika, but you could make an argument that Aloy should have stayed put. Seika put herself in a compromised situation. Aloy running out after Seika is Aloy being emotionally compromised by Seika. So now we have two people who are emotionally compromised. In the presence of a person who has controlled every engagement that he's ever been in for the last 1,000 years. And who is ridiculously dangerous. This is a mess. Now we are reacting instead of controlling the engagement. This is why you have to plan. Not for when it happens, but if it happens. This can compromise the entire mission.
Now I see. The Ginger Avengers finally caught up with me.
Ginger
Nova,
Avenger.
how did the riffraff get past you? Nova?
Nova's gone. She couldn't stand another minute with you, and I can see why. I thought the other Zeniths were disgusting. But you really are something, aren't you?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am different than the others. Yes! Among other things, I have dug up a way to crush you like an insect.
Yay! I've fought these before, dude. This is not Whoa.
Oh, what a shame. Could have been my rising star.
Oh, what up, homie?
My Zenith weapon can give me the upper hand here.
Apex Slaughter Spine. take that, Walter.
Is she okay?
I think she needs some time to understand what happened. But she does know where more of our people are, and one of the boats that came in is docked nearby. We'll gather who we can and head back to the settlement.
Okay. But then I need you to meet me near Laundra's bunker. He said he had a way to crush us like a bug, and I don't think he was talking about that slaughter spine. He's working on something big. Really big.
I'll be there. I promise. It's the least I could do after you.
Hey. We found her together. Good for you, Seika. Well, since Nova shut off the Zenith defense system, I can fly out of here. Getting around on the skiff should be safe again, too. I've got to go after Laundra one last time.
It's okay. It's over.
Oh man, that's gonna be a nightmare for Seika. There is gonna be a tendency, if you're in Seika's position, to want to go absolutely ham on helping her sister understand that everything just happened was absolute nightmare, chaos, bullshit, and let's return to the ground. And no, do not do that. Seika's got to slow play this. You meet her at the emotion, and only the emotion. Confusion, sadness, anger, whatever it is, you got to meet her there. You don't logic your way through this. You don't give her a reframe, any of that stuff. It's how are you doing? How are you feeling? What's going on in there? Understand her. Listen to her. Hear the scramble, even if it's not cohesive. Literally say to her, just tell me what's going. Tell me what's going on whenever you're ready. Don't worry about it being coherent. Don't worry about whether I'll understand it. I'm here to hear what's going on for you. That will give you the lay of the land. And the confusion and the desire to understand what happened is very likely going to come out over time. We don't know how far gone she was. And so the expectation that because Walter just dumped her like that and a slaughter spine stepped on her friend and her sister showed up, the idea that that would just immediately deprogram her is not realistic. This is going to take a significant amount of time to get her back to baseline and to reality. And Seika's got a world of patience ahead of her that she's going to have to engage with in order to get there. So my best advice, I mean, not that I expect many of you are ever going to be in a position where you have to talk to somebody who is part of a cult and needs to be deprogrammed from that cult. But if you ever are in this type of situation where somebody was in, say, an abusive situation or was part of a group or a multi-level marketing scheme or something like that, and they come out of it, don't go ham on them right away. Give them space to kind of talk about what that's like and validate the emotion that's coming along with it. And then over time, you'll be able to have some more important conversations about the logistics of everything and re-engaging with reality.
Don't worry about us. I'll see you near Laundra's bunker.
How do you like me now?
Yo, Birdie. Where you at, bruh? Ooh, what have we here? I went through everything again, and none of it works personal hollows, voice recordings, interviews, it all makes me feel uncomfortable, like she's judging me from beyond the grave. I need something that's less literal, more evocative. My mind keeps wandering back to that iconic scene. It's how she was remembered, how she was adored. After 1,000 years, it is my most enduring image of her, too. No matter how many private hours I spend with her, an expression of her essence, immortalized. I'll just have to use it. I can find somebody with even a fraction of her luminescence. I'll be satisfied. The rest can be sorted out later. I'll have an eternity to mold her into what she needs to be. Walter, buddy. Whoa. Oh, that's the door that I... Come here, birdie. Hey.
Better dismount, stretch my legs.
No. We'll go this way. I do need to find that last dinosaur. Oh, what have we here? Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, so wait, Laundra's bunker all the way up there. So that means... Let's go, birdie.
Some kind of opening at the back of the fissure.
A cauldron? Oh, get out. Oh, baby. Well, we gotta do this.
Made it. Looks like the lava's broken through.
Oh, baby.
Alright, time to find a core.
Yeah, I wonder what this is gonna give me the opportunity to like... Oh, I guess like probably the frogs and shit. Oh, I get it. Okay.
Chill water canister makes it when it hits the molten rock. Rock's still hot.
Fuck.
But hardened enough to walk on.
Sweet. All right, before we continue, I'm gonna run to the restroom really quick. We'll be right back.
Lava's really done a number on this place. Looks like there's a door on the other side of the chamber. Might lead to the core.
I know I keep saying this, but I appreciate so much that they basically included everything in this. Like, they put a cauldron in here. You could miss this so easily, dude. I really think the sign of, like, confident game developers is when they put amazing shit in a game that you could just walk right past. You drones. Oh yeah, see there's a thing circling around with the canister. That's what I figured. Case. Come on, buddy. Come here. Oh, it has to drop on the magma. God damn, dude. Alright. Whoa. Ugh. Come on. Alright, so I gotta get that box from over there.
Get used to this. Great. Might be useful.
Oh, it'll be useful. Hey, thanks for being here, friends. I know tonight was a bit of a heavy episode, which is why I'm kind of glad that we can get a little bit of reprieve by doing this cauldron. I'm grateful for your willingness to
should make getting around easier.
Engage with all these conversations, even when difficult. And I will always appreciate your willingness to support what I do here. So, whether you're here live or whether you're watching on YouTube, thank you very much for all of your support.
All this lava has disrupted the cauldron's operations. Drones keep dropping chilled water canisters. Maybe to cool this place down? Uh-oh, company!
Okay, that's a lot of kangaroos. Whoa! How'd you get up here? This is wild. There's so much to do here. Oh, shit.
Good. Another bridge.
Come on, crate. Aloy the human forklift. Well, you could say we are down under
That machine doesn't sound friendly.
LA. That's maybe why there's kangaroos, you know? You could say that. Alright.
That'll help.
Okay. Boy, we really are we're just moving crates. I appreciate making this a hexagon.
I think I'm getting somewhere.
Oh yeah, you are figuring it out, Aloy.
That worked.
Oh, look at that.
Guess I need to weigh down the panel. There. That should do it.
Beauty.
Whoa. Well, guess I know what left all those eggs I saw earlier.
Oh, we got Big Froggy Boy. Oh. There we go.
I think I'm getting closer to the core. But where to now? That platform. It looks like I can reach it. Whoa! It's moving. I think I can steer this thing.
Whoa, neat. This is like the things in Star Wars, like in the Senate. They like drive the little thing out to the middle. like my boy Palpatine. I'm riding like Daddy Palps. Oh, all this for a green chest? Okay. Reward me for my time. Oh, it's okay, all sides. Sweet. Dude. This is badass. To whoever's idea this was, great idea. Except for the chests, man. You're killing me with these lame-ass chests.
If I want to get to the core, I'll need to get past that big shield.
Indeed. Indeed. Oh god. Oh god. Go. Over there. Up. Up. What the hell? There we go. Thank you. Thank you, Aloy. Now, another one. Nope. Oh god. I have to go higher? Oh, I do. Okay. Come on. Come on. There you go, Aloy. And, oh boy. Oh god. Oh god, what have I done? Cue the Anakin meme. Cue the Anakin meme.
Uh-oh, time to get off.
All over again. That could have ended badly. It would have been bad, indeed. Fallen into the magma. Magma is undefeated, never lost. And go. Oh. There we go. What do we got here? Hey.
The chill water drone.
What up, bud? Hell yeah, dude. Okay, now.
That's a lot of eggs. With the cauldron malfunctioning, that machine's had free reign of the place.
Oh boy. Oh god. Oh my goodness. That is...
And here come the sting spawn.
That is so many eggs. At least they're easy kills.
More sting spawn? Sure, why not?
Oh! Oh!
I'm empty.
We've awoken the hive.
You know, I don't know which is worse. The machine or its eggs.
Sure, why not? So elaborate, and I love it.
The note. Let's see what it does. All right, shield's down. Might be able to get to the core now.
Hell yeah. Let's get to that sweet, sweet core. Oh no. Oh no. I'm going the wrong way. Just following that marker. Need to go this way.
There's plenty of lava. Hope the core's still intact.
It's like a flying boat, so would Seika like it or not?
Blocked. Looks like I'm going on foot from here.
A great question. She'd have to tell us herself. Holy crap, dude. Look how big this is. This is insane. It's like a freaking Destiny
There's an opening
raid.
across the way. Could lead to the core.
Oh, there it is.
Made it. The machine really made itself at home in here.
What do we have here? It's a froggy. A froggy.
And there's the core.
And I can override it with no problem. That frog's not going to drop down and defend it. No way, no how. Yeah, no way. Just no way. What up, dude?
Decided to show yourself, huh?
You scanny, bud. Oh, God. Oh, Apex file build.
And this one shoots fire. Great.
Yeah. What's up, fire guy? Oh, God. Oh, God. Come on. Oh, baby. I ain't afraid of you, frog.
Now to get the data.
Jeez. That was wild, dude. Holy crap. I got 100,000. Wow. That was intense, dude. What a cool fight. Oh, it gave me my
new machine
ghost
override
back. That's cool.
Should help out in the wild.
I can override the froggy now.
Fresh air. And no sting spawn in sight.
That was cool. Well, I'm glad we found that. All right, let's go. over there. Whoo! Neat.
A rush of air.
I love that they had that. I really do. So great. Oh God.
Damn it!
Feel the dizzying highs of stocking shelves or mopping up customer vomit and experience the anxious lows of being placed on a performance improvement plan by a store manager with facial animations that will have you believing they really hate your guts. Experience the cozy wonder of pre-automated world with a swipe of your focus. Clerk Quest 2 Deluxe Edition with a supposed to be my day off expansion pass is the most realistic menial labor sim on the market. Available in early access from the Pharaoh Hollow store. No! I don't know that I will partake in that. I so badly want to find the final dinosaur. All right. Beautiful. That is going to be the end of part 7, my friends. Thank you so much for making the effort to come out and sticking through it. I know it was a very heavy episode. I appreciate that you are willing to let me shepherd you through this game and through the various topics that we have to talk about as a result of it. I give Gorilla so much credit for being willing to actually engage with the heaviness of all this stuff. It's awesome. If you left a thumbs up or a comment, thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it. If you're subbed to the channel, thank you for doing that. All these things help me with the YouTube algorithm, which is a bitch to get on board with. So if you are binging, I will catch you in the next episode, which seems like maybe could be the last one. We'll see. If you are waiting for the next one to come out, we'll get it out as soon as we can. I appreciate you. You matter, and I'll see you on the next one.